the kid that came here at 18 years of age, retired at 38, and became probably the best dad that we've seen over the last 3 years.
To watch him grow, the legacy he established when he left, Kobe, will resonate in the city of Los Angeles forever.
No words can describe how I feel about you guys. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. God, I love you guys.
Joining us at this time, two-time NBA All-Star, the 2004 Most Improved Player, and the man with one of the best nicknames in NBA history, Z-Bo, Zach Randolph. Welcome back to The Jump. So good to have you here with us. And much like Kobe Bryant, you were a fierce competitor on the court. But I loved a recent interview you did with Mark Stein of the New York Times talking about how much better you got to know Kobe after your careers were over. In fact, you asked him to coach your daughter, McKinley. How did that change your perception of him, your relationship with him after he retired? I love that you have this window into his post-career life.
I mean, it was great. I mean, you know, she wanted to play. We're moving out here, and, you know, I reached out to Kobe, and he's like, you know, hey, come in and, you know, let's see how it goes, and, you know, how she mixed in with the girls, and it was good. You know, it was good. She came in, she fitted in well, and, you know, he worked her, and he believed in her, man, and it was great. You know what I mean? And just from, you know, the learning standpoint, and it's just everything he taught her, and, you know, just that mentality, you know, that mama mentality, and, you know, being confident and being a winner.
Zach, do you have any Coach Kobe stories? I know that he got a chance to work with the Twins, and I asked how often he practiced his team, and he said he had the girls running the triangle offense, working out 5 or 6 days a week. So I know you were living by me in Encino. He's out in Orange County. Do you have any crazy Coach Kobe stories? Because I heard he used to put those girls through some things.
Yeah, he had put when we first got there, he put McKinley through a 16, and she didn't know what a 16 was. So after practice, he got, you know, all the other girls down there, they shooting and doing whatever. And he like, come on, McKinley, you got to hit the sideline. Let's do these 16s. Man, she did it. You know, that was her first time ever doing a 16. And she was like, Dad. She's like, I wasn't expecting that. I was like, I know, that's that mamba, you know. And, you know, but not only that, he got her in the best shape. You know what I mean? She was in great shape. And, you know what I mean? When he talked, you know, they listened. You know, it was like, you know, they was mesmerized, you know, by being coached by one of the greatest players to ever play this game.
Absolutely.
All right, Z-Bo, here's the thing. Are you surprised, because I know I was, that Kobe wanted to coach? You know, guys that good, they usually can't coach because they think they expect everybody to be as great as they are. So what do you expect of that? What do you think of that?
Man, I mean, it was great. I mean, you know, taking his time, you know, taking his time out of retirement and spending. That's what it was like after retirement, was them girls. You know, he was dedicated to them, and you know, they want every one of them had a college, you know, they wanted to go to, and Kobe's like, you know what, you want to go here, you want to go there, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get you there, and they worked for it, and you know, that was his life from girls, man.
I love the idea of you two who went head-to-head so many times. You battled him, Z-Bo, more than I. We have lists of who he played against the most times, and you are near the top of that list. And that you guys became these friends post-retirement. Watching your two little girls is so awesome. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We're going to have you back on the show when you can actually come into the studio, because we play a game called What Were You Thinking? And there's really no one else that would be better to find out what you were thinking during certain of those moments. So thank you, Z-Bo, so much. Coming up on this in Indianapolis. Matt, do you think the NBA, considering bringing back an all-star game in a pandemic, is something, nothing, or everything?
I think it's everything. I think they'll keep, obviously, safety first. And with Chris Paul, the head of the Players Association, he's always thinking ahead. So obviously, it's a great cause for the HBCUs in the COVID relief, but also for the guys that it possibly could be their last or someone's first. You know what I mean? So you never want to take those moments away. You know, some people are never fortunate enough to make it. So I agree. Obviously, keeping safety first is at the utmost. But, you know, the fans love it. And the games themselves themselves have been so amazing lately. I would love to see an All-Star game.
I totally agree with man. This is everything. And I think the one thing that it really is going to be impressive if they're able to do anything for the HBCUs, because I know this is a passion of Chris Paul's, and for the NBA to step up, especially during this time of Black Lives Matter movement, it'll be the perfect platform for you to just say, hey, look at us. This is what's going on in the country still, but we want to show our support for the HBCU and more importantly for the COVID-19 people who are supporting that and helping out with that.
And the fact that it's in Atlanta, you know, the blackest city, the black city of the United States. I love Atlanta, you know what I mean? So it's a perfect setting, and like I said, for the reasons, you know, that Chris Paul laid out, I think it's a great idea.
I mean, Chris's support, right, of the HBCU movement and sort of what he's done to bring attention to, hey, it's not just these universities are here or the support they should get, but young athletes, guys from his AAU program directing them toward those schools has been really amazing. I appreciate all the reasons why everyone wants to have an all-star game this year, but I am concerned. I'm going to say I don't think we can just gloss over health and safety here. And you have had, I sit here every day and I announce cancellation after postponement after postponement. And we have a situation here where we have 30 pods, right, in the NBA. And those pods in, say, the 2-week period, somebody may be exposed to COVID, right, is kind of what we look at, 10 days to whatever. They may interact with 1, 2, 3, 4 other pods, right, in games that they play. And we've seen the reaction of that, right? The Wizards who got something maybe after contact with the Celtics, and then it knocks out their schedule, and then it knocks out someone else's schedule. That's when you're only mixing 3 or 4 pods in any given 10 to 14 day period. What happens when you are taking 20 guys, 24 guys from 20 different pods, putting them all together with no quarantine on the way in or on the way out, because the All-Star break is only 5 days, sticking them together in Atlanta, which, as you note, is a city that guys like. Are you telling them they have to stay locked in their hotel rooms the whole time? Or are you telling them they can't interact with anybody?
The logistics will be tough, I think.
You're telling people they can't exchange jerseys or have handshakes or hugs because they're coming 2 separate pods, right, between teams. Now you're going to stick 24 of them all together and then send them right back to their individual pods. So, look, the NBA has been fantastic on health and safety. I trust the leadership of the NBA. I really, really do. So if they have a plan for this, I am excited to hear it. But again, as someone who every day sits here and talks about COVID's impact on the league, I am curious how they would pull this off. And if they can, I'm thrilled to see it. If they can't, I hope there is another way that we can give money support to some of the causes that we just mentioned. They can always just
put it at the end of the season.
That too, absolutely. And I do love that Elon ending they did in the last game. It was so fun. I loved the All-Star game in Chicago. It was amazing. So I would sure love to see it if safety can be taken into account for. All right, let's talk about the Nets beating the Heat for the second time in 3 days on Monday. But in those 2 games where Kyrie, KD, and Harden played, it was James that has taken the fewest shots, only 19 total in 2 games, along with 19 assists. Here's Harden's post-game describing this newfound balance for him.
I was in a role for 8 years, controlling the ball, dominating the ball. Now it's a different experience for me, but it's still great. You got to pick and choose when to be aggressive, when to get your shooters going, when, to let KD and Kyrie get going. Once we get a rhythm in that flow and we kind of start to feel, each other out more, our team will have a lot more flowing throughout the course of the game. Right now, we're trying to find it, and we show really good glimpses of it, but it'll be more consistent.
All right, so Robert Harden with as many assists as shot attempts against Miami. Do you think that's something, nothing, or everything?
I think I'm going to go with nothing on this one because this marriage is still in the honeymoon, and he's still trying to figure things out. So I'm going to say nothing right now because they played the Heat without Jimmy Butler. They played a Heat that's a good team, but they're missing their top dog. So I'm going to say nothing because when you beat a team that doesn't have all this firepower and you still win, so I'm still going to say nothing.
I think it's something from a standpoint of this is kind of the evolution of James. We saw, but if you think about it, his early days in OKC in the fourth quarter, he was the playmaker for Russ and KD. So this is the next step in James's evolution, and I like it. Everyone thought that Kyrie would be the third wheel at the second seat. Kyrie's moved to the scoring two guard in honor of Kobe. He's a scoring two guard. We know what KD does. So James is able to get everyone else going, but also get his shot at any other time. And like I said, I just think that's an evolution of him. My only concern about this team is on the defensive end, but offensively, they're playing against themselves, trying to get better every single night. So I don't really care about who the opponent is.
And you guys both know that progression, right? You've saw it in the league, both I'm sure with yourselves, but also with all the guys you came in contact with over the years. You start out just wanting to make it as an NBA player. Then as you get better, as James Harden did in Oklahoma City, we know there was a little bit of like, well, I could do this. I could start. I could have my own team. I could do these things. And then he spent years in Houston showing us that. The MVP,